This is the levels of consciousness, and most of you are probably familiar with this from David Hawkins' book. This is the book. And I will just briefly go to why we need to release all this past. So in the red zone, do you see my mouse? Who can confirm? Okay. In the red zone is when we do a lot of work and not much is happening, or here inertia is when we are blah, we procrastinate, we say we do it and we don't do it. So when we are in this zone is because we're carrying some shame, guilt, apathy, I call this sadness, grief, fear. This is when we procrastinate the most. Hyperactivity is when we have anger, desire, but that desire like on the Lord of the Rings, oh, my precious, like I gotta have it, that kind of desire. Or pride, when I suffer inside, but I show to the world that I am successful and achieving. As I said, you all had released some of those, but when we still see that we're not going to the next level, that means we have to dig. What other shame is there? What other guilt is there? What grief I haven't grieved? What fears I have not released? What anger I have not released? So that's why this is what we're doing today, because once we release those, then our level of consciousness rises. And the level of consciousness that we are, it's usually a sum. So let's say I felt anger, but I also felt optimism, right? So it's a medium between those two. The more we release the anger and the shame, the higher we go. It's like that hot water balloon. The more we release, the higher we go. So that's the reason for going again and healing another thing and healing another thing and healing another thing, until of course we reach enlightenment. Then we don't need to do any retreats, we don't need to do any more healing. We're just zen all the time. Anybody that comes our way, we'll bless them and nothing disturbs our peace. Until we reach that point, we need to dig on this lower part below the courage. We need to look what other things are there. So this is the reason why we're digging. And the anger is, sometimes the anger is pure anger, but sometimes anger reflects some of the below, like fear or grief, something that hasn't healed, or guilt or shame. For example, if we have shame about something and somebody says something to us openly in the public that unveils that shame, we can become angry, but not the anger is the problem, the shame is the problem. So when we work through this, you will be able to identify which one is more relevant for you. But releasing anger is a big one, even if we don't know exactly what the anger is about, or if the anger is just anger.